As long as Claire called the police or told others what she was thinking, he would threaten her and publish these photos and videos, so that she would not be able to lift her head for the rest of her life and be pointed out for the rest of her life. He believes Claire will never call the police or make public announcements. At that time, he will have all the initiative. He can fix her to have a relationship at any time. As long as she disagrees, he will threaten her with videos and photos and force her to submit. In this way, wouldn't she be equivalent to having a best friend? Ha ha ha, is that still unhappy ending for him? The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. After making the tea, his complexion returned to normal, and he returned to the sofa to sit down. While pouring Claire a cup of tea, he said, "Ms. Wilson, don't worry, let's talk slowly with a cup of tea." Claire didn't think much about it. After speaking so much, she felt a little dry, so he picked up the teacup and took a big sip. Tian Hao is so excited now. He stared at Claire with fiery eyes, watching her slender and straight legs, slender waist, perfect figure, and pretty face. This woman really exudes a charming aura everywhere, which makes his heart beat more and more. Today is a godsend gift day for him. When he thinks that he can enjoy this perfect woman in a while, Tian Hao feels like he will burn all over. Seeing Claire drank his tea, Tian Hao was very excited. Now, just wait for the effect of the drug to take place. After Claire drank the cup of tea, she soon realized that something was wrong. It seems that her head is a little dizzy and heavy. What is going on? She was shocked. Did Tian Hao mixed medicine in the tea this time? Thinking of this, Claire trembled in shock. She wanted to get up, but she felt that her legs were a little weaker. Looking at it this way, she is afraid it is difficult to escape on her own. Taking advantage of her own consciousness, she quietly turned on the phone, found Charlie's number on WeChat, and pressed the button to speak. The voice was sent here, and at the same time, she said to Tian Hao, "Mr. Tian Hao, I feel a little dizzy. There is nothing wrong with this tea, right?" Tian Hao laughed and said, "No problem. This tea is top-notch. It costs more than 10,000 a caddy. It is delicious. Would you have another cup?" Claire said, "No thank you, Mr. Tian Hao, I'm a little uncomfortable. Could you please send me out?" Tian Hao laughed a few times. He was sitting on Claire's side, but at this time, he got up and walked to the side of Claire and sat down next to her. Looking at the restless Claire, Tian Hao smiled and said, "Mr. Wilson, everyone says you are the top beauty in Orus Hill. I saw you today. It really is a well-deserved reputation. I really admire it." Seeing that he posted it, Claire moved to the other side, shook her head, and said, "Mr. Tian Hao, can you please stay away from me?" Tian Hao smiled and said, "What's wrong with Ms. Wilson? We are partners. It doesn't hurt to get close, right?" With that said, Tian Hao's body once again stuck to Claire's side. Claire wanted to hide again, but he had reached the edge of the sofa and could only shrink her body vigorously to prevent Tian Hao from touching it. Tian Hao has been leaning towards her, his eyes are constantly looking at her. Claire's brain became heavier and heavier, and when her hands were loosened, his voice was sent to Charlie. Charlie was doing housework at home at this time, and suddenly received a voice from his wife, subconsciously opened it, and suddenly the whole body was violent. "Oh shush, T." This D*MN Tian Hao even dared to think loosely about his wife. He immediately took out his mobile phone and called Isik directly, and said with a black face, "All the hands you can mobilize must go to the Tian Hao Building Materials Group. I will raze it to the ground today." Isik asked in surprise, "Mister, what's the matter?" This Tian Hao's wife still has some strength in the family. It is a small family attached to ours. If we rashly level the Tian Hao Building Materials Group, we will not be able to compete with other younger brothers. Charlie asked in a cold voice, "That Tian Hao, who wants to assault my wife, tell me, is it rash to level him?" Huh? Isik suddenly shuddered. He thought Tian Hao got the young master by accident, but he didn't expect that he turned his mind on the young lady. If you dare to have this kind of rebellious idea, the crime cannot be blamed. So he immediately said, "Mr. Wade, I will immediately mobilize the staff and rush over." "Okay. I'm going there now too." Isaac immediately said, "Where are you, Mr. Wade? I will let the helicopter pick you up, so it will be faster." "It is good." After a while, a top-heavy civilian helicopter roared up. In the helicopter, sitting Isaac and 10 masters in black. His expression is extremely ugly. D*MN, there are still people who dare to do something to the young lady in this 1/3 of an acre in Orus Hill. He is really looking for death. The helicopter was extremely fast, and it was upstairs to Claire's house in a flash. Charlie rushed to the rooftop, climbed directly into the helicopter, and immediately said to Isaac, "Hurry up at the fastest speed." At this time, in Tianhao Building Materials Group. Seeing that Claire was already unable to struggle, Tianhao laughed excitedly, and immediately stretched out his hands, wanting to take off Claire's clothes. At this moment, the door was suddenly kicked open by a few people. An ugly, but aggressive woman rushed in with a few men who looked like bodyguards. Seeing that Tianhao was about to take off Claire's clothes, the woman was extremely angry and blurted out, "Tianhao, you dare to eat without me?" Tianhao was frightened suddenly.